So yeah, it's interesting. Like I'm on the autism spectrum, so it makes it a little bit harder to like understand social situations, and also like I end up reading about a lot of things that nobody cares about. Like I've read a lot about like 15 languages or so, and it's really interesting when you find little details in them. Like for example, like in the Russian language, what they call Russia, they call it Rossiya. But like it's interesting that when you look at the actual letters of the English word Russia, you see those two S's there, and everywhere else in English, two S's are a S sound like that, but then there we put a sh sound on it, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Imagine whoever was the original person to turn the word Russia into English, they're like, okay, so it's an S sound here, so I'm gonna put two S's here just to make sure they pronounce it right. And then the person's probably like, why is everyone putting the sh sound on? I never put an H in there. There's no H anywhere in this word. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I feel like they screwed up with the U though. Like, I don't see why they didn't put an O there if there's an O sound there instead of a U. And it's fascinating too. Like, if you wanted to help teach your kids Swedish, I'd recommend you don't give them The Little Mermaid in Swedish to teach them, because like if you read The Little Mermaid in Swedish, when you get to the last page, you see the mermaid on a rock and you just see one word on the page, and the word is slut, because the Swedish word for the end is S-L-U-T, pronounced slut. So they call it slut, but for any American looking at the last page of that book or any other children's book in Swedish, it would be a bit confusing. So like, I think people shouldn't give their kids like the Three Little Bears, and maybe their kids will start slut shaming the Three Little Bears. I don't know. Yeah. And then what else do we have? Oh yeah, one interesting thing about me is like I consider myself a nice person, but I don't consider myself a nice guy. Like I do nice things for people, but I don't think it like entitles me to anything. And yeah, that one works better when like I don't know, that one doesn't have a traditional punchline. So but moving on, like I kind of hope sometimes when I perform, I hope that like most of the women are gay or whatever, because I feel like the people who think I'm the funniest are usually gay, and like that's pretty fun to perform in front of audiences like that. Like I've been thinking too, like I know a lot of like some of my friends are single lesbian women, and I'm thinking it'd be really cool one day to like none of them are at this show. Actually, like pretty much no one I know is at this show except for the producer and a few other people, but like it'd be really cool to like one day, like, since, like, you see, like, there are a few things that women of mine who are friends who are lesbian complain about, and, like, one of them is that they'll say that there are, like, no lesbian women in the area, and, like, I think that's a thing, but I kind of wish I could, like, I don't know, fix that by just, like, concentrating them at my comedy shows, and then, like, it could help them, too, because I feel like the straight women would be laughing less. I could help out, maybe scope out women who are gay who they haven't met yet, based on who's laughing the most. And then, it's interesting too, like, I was helping this friend of mine move, and she was telling me how she matched up with this other woman I know on Tinder, but they'd never messaged each other because they were both too shy. And, like, that was really sad to me because, like, you see, I'd heard about that, like, a few years ago from a woman I'm friends with or whatever, but I sort of just assumed it was just her. And, like, I thought, like, oh, that shyness thing. And then I realized it was, like, other, like, women also. And, like, after the stories I found out, it kind of makes me sad a bit, so I keep daydreaming about it. Like, it'd be cool if I could help, like, I guess, like, shyness is one of the key things that, like, makes it harder for them to end up with each other. So, like, I kind of wish I could, like, use my eccentricity to help them. Like, one thing I was thinking about is, like, having them come to one of my shows and then, like battle rapping against myself, except during the battle rap, I'm both of them, and instead of, like, insulting each other, it's like a compliment battle rap. But I feel like that would be way too weird, and I don't think it would actually help them. But I plan on telling one of them that. I'm not sure which one I'll tell, but, like, I guess I should tell the one that actually told me about it, because the other one doesn't know that I know that they were too shy to message each other and stuff. But let's see what
Just
else.
do it.
Yeah, I should, I don't know, like, I feel like one day it'd be cool to be, like, a superhero that, like, unites queer people together or something. Like, I don't know what that would be called, like, Girlfriend Man or something? Like, I'm not sure, it's probably, like, a good name for it. Yeah, and then what else is there? I have bad handwriting, so that makes this challenging. Let's see, what else is Oh yeah, so I guess another interesting story is that like it's kind of interesting how like here I feel like it's about the same distance from where I live by bus at least, or the same distances of time as Everett. So like I performed in Everett back in August. It was like a few days after I'd been in Vancouver, BC, and I was a little bit tired, but I was fine. And like after the show, like the producer had said that they had a couch that I could potentially crash on, which would be nice because like I would be able to bus back home, and I also like didn't really want to pay $80 or $100 to like take a lift all the way back down way south of the airport near Tacoma where I live. So like what ended up happening when that fell through and stuff is I ended up deciding to like walk for like 2 hours or so. So my logic was like, if I just walk 2 hours, then what will happen is that like the buses will be running at that point, so I'll be fine and I'll save like $80 or $100. And so like while I was walking down south on Everett Highway, like I hear these tires screech next to me, and there are these 4 white guys in this car, like they have the windows down, and they say like, "Hey boy," and like one of them in the back like throws a watermelon at me and like hits me on the elbow right here and stuff, and like I was really shocked. Like I kind of didn't believe it happened at first, and like I ended up like yeah, like it was interesting too. Like I kept thinking about it in all sorts of different perspectives afterwards, and I was thinking like one of my things I thought about it was how weird it is how they were prepared, that like because I was the only black person I saw out there, so like I kind of wonder how prepared they were for other ethnicities. Like maybe if they had seen like a Hispanic person, maybe they have beans or something, or maybe if they had seen someone who was like half black, half white, maybe they would have had like crackers and a watermelon, or maybe like mayonnaise and a watermelon. I'm not really sure. Yeah, that was on my mind since my dad's been complaining about mayonnaise a lot recently, like how like Dick's and like Jimmy John's have so much mayonnaise in their stuff. But yeah, I also feel like it's so interesting that like all the prominent racist people, they like never say the N-word. Like I don't know if any of you follow the head of the Ku Klux Klan on Twitter or whatever, but like it's a weird thing where like people in like positions of like high level racism, they just don't use the N-word, and I think that it would just make it easier for everyone if like racist people use the N-word more. Like those guys back there, like I guess they were probably just too shy to say the N-word, even though they had the perfect opportunity. But like I think that like for example, like when politicians pass a law that really hurts black people or whatever, I feel like it should be mandatory that they have to like sing the N-word on live TV in order to like bring attention. So I feel like if you have some law called HB 219 or something, and like if it's like 200 pages or you'd have to like read through all of it to realize how awful it is, like it would just make it a lot simpler if you forced them to go on live TV, hold hands, and sing the N-word while swaying back and forth. And I think it would just be a lot more efficient. I don't know. It brings awareness. And let's see. I will check my phone to see how much time. Let's see. Well, I'm only at 9:39. Okay, so here we go. So let's see. I guess I'll do this thing where I guess some of you have seen before. Where I'll do 2 stories, and you'll have to like guess. Well, maybe you'll guess which is true or false. But it's possible that both stories are false, or also possible that both stories are true. Different possibilities. Anyway, so like the first story is that I was on a train from Chicago to Seattle, and I noticed the person next to me had a banana that was not as bruised as mine was. They had a really nice looking banana, and so like when there was a tunnel at one point, I switched the bananas with, I don't think they noticed, but I feel like if they did notice, they probably wouldn't be brave enough to like say like, "Did you switch my banana?" Like I think everyone would just feel like no adult person would do that. Like I don't think people would call anyone out on that. And then like the second story is that I was in a Vietnamese male beauty pageant. This was back in 2016 when I was a senior at UW, and the pageant was called Pho King. It was spelled PHOKING, and it was all men, so there weren't any women in it. And yeah, it was interesting. Every Monday was our fucking practice, and we had like an entire choreographed routine with all of us. And like one of the rules, one of the things that the first things we had to do with fucking was we had to sign a document saying that we wouldn't make jokes about fucking because it would possibly hurt sponsorships and stuff. And it was like raise money for the Vietnamese community and stuff. Like that was one of the things, like we had this speech and stuff, and they were saying like, fucking isn't about you, fucking is about helping the community. And like you need to remember to be serious about it. This isn't a joking matter. They say like, don't joke about fucking, and like yeah, I guess I'm breaking that contract, but none of them showed up to my show also, like, oh well. So yeah, so those are the two stories. So if you want, you can ask questions about the first or the second story by raising your hand or whatever. Any questions about the banana story?
What so you were on a train from Chicago to Seattle?
Correct. And like the lights weren't quite on in the tunnel or whatever, but it was a short tunnel. But any other? I don't know, you didn't ask that question, but I sort of felt like you would. I don't know.
Was the person sitting next to you from Seattle?
I didn't really ask them.
Okay. Because if they were, they might be too passive aggressive to make comment about the banana.
That does sound reasonable. Yeah. Any other banana questions? Or? Okay.
How'd it taste?
I thought it tasted okay, but I feel like now that I'm older, I realize that like bruised bananas, purely yellow bananas, there's not too big of a difference in taste between them. Like sometimes like I think the blacker ones are sweeter. I don't know. It sounds weird. But yeah, any questions about the beauty pageant story? Yeah.
If they didn't want people to joke about it, why did they name it fucking?
Yeah, I never asked them about it because like I felt like it wasn't my place as the only black person to ask that. Like that was an interesting thing too. Like when I told my mom about it, she was upset with me because she thought I had tricked them into thinking I was Vietnamese. And like I don't know, like I don't consider myself much of a trickster, but I feel like I'd have to be a really high caliber trickster to like convince some people that I was Vietnamese. But yeah. Yeah, any other, yeah, you?
Did you enjoy fucking?
Oh yeah, fucking was my favorite part of college, because like because I was too unattractive to do actual fucking, so the fucking pageant was wonderful, like, got to like show off my abs and stuff, and like, do a sketch. There were like a bunch of different fucking categories, like there was a group dance, solo dance, skit, talent. It was pretty interesting. I ended up tying for last in fucking. But I finished, so like that's good.
There we go.
Yeah. So let's think. Let's see. I will reveal the answer to which story is true or not by taking my shirt off.
Woo! Take it off.
Yeah, the beauty pageant story was real, and the banana story was false. Like, I feel like I wouldn't have it in me to like steal someone's banana. I feel like even though it's a tiny thing and they still have a banana, I feel like I wouldn't really sleep well at night if I did that. And then let's see.
You won.
You're at 2 songs.
All right, 2 songs left. Okay. So I think I will do a quick battle rap against myself, and I will do 2 characters. I'll do a chandelier versus a whale. It's a bit interesting since like I feel like it might be a little bit challenging to. Oh, I think it should work somehow. I've never done it in an enclosure like this before. So, and I guess I will do the battle rap without the microphone, but I think it'll still work. So here we go. I am a chandelier, and I shall take hold of all you hold dear. I am a mighty whale, and you shall fail. Don't be so foolish. Don't be such a fool, whale, because you are a tool whale.
Whoa.
With my mighty pectoral fin, you shall not win. Why are you under a shroud? You surely do confound. I am under a shroud to hide you from my brightness, that it doesn't destroy you too soon. For you are a simple loon.
Ooh.
He told you.
Well, if you are a chandelier, why are you so low to the ground? Why you still do confound? You round creature. I am near to the ground to be nearer to you, and you, I shall make your offspring few. You stand no chance with these words of dance. Well, okay. Dear whale, I shall swallow you whole, so that to heaven never goes your soul. Why would you swallow me? That sounds like it would be a good thing. Well, are you even trying? For your tears I am vying. At least make an attempt. You make me full of contempt.
Whoa.
Maybe we should have coffee sometime.
Oh man, this is getting interesting.
Stop hitting on me, whale. Come on, this is a battle rap. You're supposed to lead me. I don't know, just thought we could go get a drink or something. Dear whale, you don't have the repertoire. You aren't even worthy of my boudoir. I shall take my leave of you. I am a chandelier, but I shall grow legs somehow. You are nothing but a cow. Well, okay, guess I'll be going too. Yeah, okay, that's the end of my set. Hopefully that was yeah. Hopefully too you have a recording, because I guess I accidentally stopped my recording during